What's going on, fellas? I've been asked many times what this podcast is going to be about. So let me give you a little rundown of That Dope Dad. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever sat in your car in the driveway for a minute just breathing before you walked into the house? Not because you didn't love your family, but because you were tired. Because work was so heavy. Because the bills are real and they're stacking up. Because you don't want your stress walking in before you do. Yeah, this podcast is for you. This is That Dope Dad, and this isn't about perfect fathers. This is about present ones. Nobody really prepares you for the weight of fatherhood. They show you the cute baby pictures. They show you all the cute moments. They don't talk about the 2 a.m. feeds when you have to be up at 6 a.m. The arguments you and your partner have because you're both exhausted. The fear that hits you when you look at your bank account. The quiet thought of, am I doing enough as a father, provider, and husband or partner? As men, we carry pressure differently. We don't always say it out loud. We just handle it. But sometimes handling it looks silent. Sometimes it looks like frustration. Sometimes it looks like shutting down. And here's the truth. Pressure doesn't mean you're failing. It means you care. On this podcast, we're talking about that pressure. We're going to talk about how to manage it without letting it manage us. How to communicate instead of bottling it up. Taking 5 minutes to reset before reacting. Building systems in your life so everything isn't chaos. Because you don't need to be perfect. You need to be steady. Brother, you need to be steady. The wins we don't celebrate enough. You know what a win is. It's not just your kid scoring a goal. It's the moment you were about to yell and you didn't. It's when your child says, "Daddy, watch this," and you actually put the phone down. It's apologizing when you messed up. I remember a moment I snapped over something very small, and later I went back and said, "Hey, Dad was wrong. I'm sorry." You know what that does? It teaches accountability, it teaches humility, it teaches strength. We're going to celebrate those wins here, because growth as a father isn't loud. It's built in quiet decisions. We're not avoiding the hard stuff either. Believe me, we're going to talk about it. When you feel disconnected from your partner, when discipline turns into frustration, when you feel like your kid isn't listening to a word you're saying, when co-parenting is complicated and messy, when you're trying to break cycles you grew up in, generational trauma. Some of us didn't have a blueprint. Some of us are trying to be the dad we never even had. That's heavy, but that's powerful too, because every time you choose patience instead of anger, every time you choose teaching instead of yelling, you're rewriting your family history. And we're going to discuss anger, patience, and emotional control. So let's be real. There are moments when your child pushes every button you have. And the old version of you wants to react, but here's what I've learned. Your child is learning how to handle emotions by watching how you handle yours. So when you pause, when you take a breath, when you kneel down and explain instead of explode, you're not just correcting behavior, you're building emotional intelligence. Strong dads aren't the loudest in the room. They're the most controlled, and that's strength, and that's hard. Let's build character in our kids. We're going to talk about raising kids who are respectful, who are responsible, who are confident, who are kind, who are resilient. And I bet there's a bunch of other things too. But here's the thing. They won't just learn it from what we say. They'll learn it from how we live, how we treat their mom, how we handle losing, how we respond to setbacks, how we talk about ourselves. You are your child's first definition of what a man is. That's not pressure, that's purpose. That's not pressure, that is purpose, brother. We're learning together. I don't have all the answers. None of us do. This isn't a podcast where I sit here pretending I mastered fatherhood. This is a space where we grow together, we share stories, real stories, the embarrassing ones, the breakthrough moments, the times we got it wrong, and the times we got it right. Because when one dad says, "Man, I'm struggling," I struggled with that too. Another dad feels less alone, and that matters. If you ever wondered if you're doing enough, felt guilty for working too much, felt guilty for not working enough, lost your patience and regretted it, felt the weight of leading your family, you're not weak, you're not failing, you are becoming. Fatherhood is not about getting it right every day. It's about showing up every day, trying again, adjusting, learning, growing, every day. If you're listening right now and you feel pressure, good, that means you care. If you messed up, good, that means you're human. If you're learning on the fly, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, like most of us. We're building better fathers. Better fathers build better families. Better families build stronger communities, and you're not doing it alone. This is That Dope Dad. Welcome to the brotherhood. Let's grow.